Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my talk on cloud topics, which is Redpanda's single platform approach to supporting multimodal streaming workloads in the most cost-effective way possible. My name is Noah Watkins, and I lead the storage team at Redpanda. I'm based out of San Francisco, and prior to Redpanda, I was working with distributed storage systems at Red Hat. Today, I'm very excited to be here to talk to you about how Redpanda is evolving to handle not just your fastest data workloads, but also your biggest, and how we are providing that in the most cost-effective way through the introduction of Redpanda Cloud Topics. Let's take a look at this new capability through the lens of a modern cybersecurity platform. To set the stage, I want you to meet a fictional company named ScalarGuard. Their mission is critical. They provide a security platform that protects thousands of businesses from malicious actors trying to gain unauthorized access to sensitive systems. To do this, they rely heavily on streaming data between their systems and the systems that they protect. But as we'll see, not all streaming data is created equal. ScalarGuard faces a dual challenge in this regard. They need to handle both instant threats as well as massive historical data sets, and ideally, that can be done all within a single unified platform. This is a high-level view of the ScalarGuard architecture. On one hand, they have a stream of threat signals. This is the thin red line that you see in the diagram. Think of these as login attempts, firewall pings. It's a small amount of data, but that data needs to be analyzed instantly to block an attack in progress. On the other hand, ScalarGuard captures everything else in forensic audit logs. These logs originate from the applications and devices being monitored. This audit log is massive. It's a high-volume stream of every single action, and it's invaluable for the analysis after a breach has been contained. Let's take a look at these two streams in more detail. For the threat signal stream, the requirements are clear. It has to be incredibly fast and completely reliable. When a brute force attack is happening, you need to be able to react in milliseconds. This is the classic use case for Redpanda standard topics. Standard topics provide sub-millisecond latency without sacrificing durability, and they do this by immediately replicating data across multiple availability zones, ensuring that the data is safe the instant that it's written. Let's make this real by looking at a demo of the threat signal topic in the ScalarGuard application. First, we're going to head on over to the Redpanda console. You can see that there is a topic that's already been created, ScalarGuard threat signal, and it has around 700 megabytes that have been written into it. Now let's look at the workload that's putting data into this topic. Here we are in the console, and we have a workload that's running, and it's producing around 1 megabyte per second into that topic. Now let's head over to the metrics dashboard and see what it looks like behind the scenes. In the top panel, we can see the Kafka client throughput that we just saw from the workload generator. It's running at around 1 megabyte per second, as expected. In the middle panel, we see the cross-availability zone traffic due to replication. This is the traffic that keeps your data safe. It's running at around 2 megabytes per second, which is expected for 3x replication. And on the right-hand side, the secondary y-axis shows the estimated per month cost that AWS charges to move data across availability zones. And it's hovering at around $110 per month. And finally, in the bottom panel is the subset of the overall producer traffic that's crossing availability zones. Overall, this is a reasonable price to pay for what is being delivered, which is low latency streaming combined with very high durability and availability guarantees. But what happens after an attack is blocked? This is where the second data stream, the high volume audit log, comes into the picture. ScalarGuard needs to be able to perform forensic analysis to improve its threat detection algorithms and identify the scope of an intrusion. To do this, they need to continuously capture that high-volume forensic audit log. This data stream can easily hit hundreds of megabytes per second. The latency here isn't critical. The analysis can run hours later, but the durability is critical. So what happens if ScalarGuard uses the same type of standard topic for this massive data stream? Again, let's run through a demo of what this looks like. Here we are in the Redpanda console, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a topic for this new workload. We're going to call it Scalar Guard Audit Log Standard for standard topic. Great, the topic's been created. Now we're in the console. We're going to stop the previous workload, and we're going to go ahead and start a new workload for the audit log example and running against a standard topic. Great, that workload's running, and we can see that it's operating at around 100 megabytes per second. Now let's head back over to the metrics dashboard to see what that looks like. Up at the top, the first panel is the Kafka client throughput. We can see that it's running at 100 megabytes per second, as expected for the workload that we just started. In the middle panel, we can see the cross-AZ traffic due to replication. And the most important thing to notice is that the overall throughput here has gone up to around 200 megabytes per second, and the cost has skyrocketed up to over $10,000 per month for moving this data across availability zones. And down at the bottom, we have the producer traffic, which is crossing availability zones, and it's also elevated with a cost of over $3,000 a month. As we just saw, there are big costs that come with storing high throughput data in standard topics, and these costs can add up quickly as Scalar Guard expands and scales their business. This leaves the architects at Scalar Guard with a dilemma, choosing between three different options. First, they can pay those cloud bills that we just saw, but that can add up very quickly. The second option is to drop data. They can simply store less data, but this compromises their product, their experience, and it compromises their ability to improve detection. Or finally, they could choose to build a separate bespoke data pipeline just for the audit logs. But if they're doing this in the cloud, it's unclear how they would also escape these cross-availability zone traffic costs. None of these are really great options. This is precisely the problem that we designed Redpanda Cloud Topics to solve. It's a new tier of storage within the same Redpanda platform that you already know, and it can help you reduce costs for high throughput workloads that are able to tolerate higher latencies. Instead of replicating every byte across expensive network links as we saw with standard topics, Cloud Topics use durable, inexpensive cloud object storage as the primary backing for the data. You get the same extreme durability, but you completely eliminate the cross-AZ replication cost. Let's go ahead and take a look at our final demo. Here we are in the Redpanda console. Let's go ahead and create our cloud topic. We're going to call it Scalar Guard Audit Log Cloud Topic. And the way that you create a cloud topic in Redpanda is that you just set an additional configuration option. Redpanda Cloud Topic Enabled, you set it to true. Great, the cloud topic has been created. Now let's go back to the console and we'll restart the workload against the cloud topic. Here we are in the console. Now let's start the workload against the cloud topic. Great, now that the workload is running, you can see that it's operating at around 100 megabytes per second. Let's head back over to the metrics dashboard a final time to see what's going on. Here we are back in the metrics console. At the top, we can see the Kafka client throughput, again operating at 100 megabytes per second as expected. In the middle, we see the cross-availability zone traffic due to replication, and we see that the throughput has dropped dramatically from over 200 megabytes per second to around 1 to 1.5 megabytes per second. But critically, the costs have plummeted. They've gone from over $10,000 down to around $80. Finally, in the bottom panel, we see the producer traffic that's crossing availability zones. And it is still elevated, so that price hasn't dropped down. But if you're in the Redpanda platform, you can take advantage of a unique capability called leadership pinning to reduce these ingress costs by positioning partition leaders close to the producers. This eliminates this traffic. And in the future, we're going to be introducing leaderless mode, which provides similar cost savings without any additional configuration. And this is the final result. ScalarGuard now has a unified, elegant architecture. They use standard topics for the speed they need for real-time threat detection, and they use cloud topics for the cost efficiency they need for their massive forensic logs. It's one platform, it's two workloads, and there are no compromises that need to be made. ScalarGuard can finally focus on their mission instead of their cloud bill. So to recap, cloud topics are our answer to the crushing cost of managing high-volume streaming data in the cloud. They give you a choice, allowing you to optimize your architecture for both performance and cost, letting you run all your workloads in a single platform on a single cluster using Redpanda's unique multimodal streaming data engine. Cloud Topics will be entering beta next month with general availability planned for early next year. We can't wait to see what you build with it. That concludes my presentation. I hope you're enjoying StreamFest. My contact information is below if you have any questions or comments. You can contact me directly. Thanks for watching.